Hey everybody, Steve here again from AutoHitch.com, and today we're going to be discussing Carfax. Now, the the blog article I have here is on our website, blog section of AutoHitch.com, and it's actually how to get a Carfax for free, or how do I get a Carfax for free is the title. Now, yes, there is a way that I'm going to look at your vehicle history information. I'm going to get you everything that you need to know about your vehicle history information. I can't really get into detail how I do that. There's ways that you can do that if you've been in the industry long enough, and that is what I'm going to do. I will say that it is more than just going to free VIN check and all that other stuff. They like to advertise, free vehicle history information and all that other stuff, and it's really incomplete. So what I do is I just different methods of doing things throughout the years. I'm going to be able to get the information on your vehicle that you need to proceed. Now, I did want to cover some things that are in this article because it's really not just, hey, I'm going to get you some vehicle information. It's information that's relevant to what you're going to receive about your vehicle. Okay, so when I tell you this or that about your vehicle, it's information you need to know to understand the value that you're getting when you get certain bits of information about your vehicle or certain information in a vehicle history report. Okay, so let me go ahead and knock that out real quick, because I actually realized we didn't have a video accompanying this besides some other people's videos here from YouTube, and those are pretty old. So let's get you some updated 2018, 2019 information for Carfax reports that's relevant. Okay, so I'm not going to really go into this stuff, but let's get into this one, okay? Because I got this highlighted. It seems important. Carfax used car buyers, right? Beware, okay? I want you to understand something about buying a used car, which actually, Carfax is for a used car. You're not going to get it on a new car generally unless you're giving it for free, and you're just kind of verifying that the car is actually new. But yeah, generally it's used cars. Now, what I want you guys to understand is that there's a thing called the Carfax buyback guarantee. Okay, now I'm not necessarily sure. I should have looked into it probably before doing this video if AutoCheck or anybody else has that kind of thing. But when it comes to Carfax, there is a buyback guarantee. Now, what I want you to try and do, if you have a minute, is go online and try to find someone who has actually benefited from the Carfax buyback guarantee and who has actually used it to get their car bought back by Carfax. I don't think you're going to be able to find them. I wasn't able to find them. I've never heard of anyone actually getting it. And if you actually go to Carfax's website and look at the certain stipulations about the Carfax buyback guarantee, and I actually wrote a more in-depth article about that. So I'm kind of plug myself because it's actually more in-depth. Where the heck did I put it? You can probably see it now, and 4 major problems with the Carfax buyback guarantee. Okay, so what you can see here is I'm going to go down here, and these are the stipulations. The report must have been run prior to the date the vehicle was purchased, right? No more than 30 days prior to the purchase. If prior to purchasing the vehicle, claim it new. So I'm going to cover all the stipulations, not necessarily every single one, because it's a legal document, and when it comes to legal documents and big things like vehicles, it's going to be a lot of them. But if you just scroll down through these, what do I have here? 4. I have got 4 major ones, right? That's the title of the article. If you just cover these 4, you're going to see how difficult it would ever be to get the Carfax buyback guarantee, okay? But I'll cover for you real quick here one important way that you can make sure that you could actually still stay under that. And that's going to be to check the date that the report was run, okay? So if you get, a lot of dealers now, they'll actually give you a Carfax report, okay? But what a lot of dealers like to do, I wouldn't say a lot, let me put this, a lot of the unethical dealers, okay? There's a lot of dealers out there who are very ethical. They're just business people, even salespeople, right? They're just business people. But there's a lot of unethical dealers out there, and one thing they like to do when it comes to used cars is they like to run the report before they buy a car from an auction. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I bought vehicles from auctions, and you run a Carfax report or a vehicle history report of some kind before you purchase from the auction. The problem is that when you put that vehicle up for sale, okay, the dealer ethically should be giving you a Carfax report that was run just for you. okay? Because what's not going to happen, what's not going to show up in those vehicle history reports, or what's going to show up in the Carfax, is that the vehicle was purchased from auction. Now, in my particular case, I didn't buy them from dealer auctions necessarily. I would buy them from estate sales. People who had passed away, or government seizures. And those don't necessarily have negative connotations for consumers or car buyers out there so much as dealer auctions do. Because when it comes to dealer auctions, okay, one thing is tried and true. It's you. Well, that's not 100%. Nothing's ever 100%. But one thing is really usually true. And if a dealer buys a car at an auction, it's coming from another dealer that couldn't sell the vehicle. Now, there's several reasons why that could be, but you're buying a car from a dealer that was sold to a dealer because someone else couldn't sell that car, and you have to ask yourself that big question: why couldn't another dealer sell that car? Okay, what's wrong with that car? Now, sometimes it could be an innocent thing. Like I said here, a lender might have seized it, right? Those will go to a dealership auction. That's not a bad vehicle necessarily. It doesn't mean that the lender legally couldn't sell it themselves. They just don't have the apparatus to do that. They don't have the business structure to do that. They just put it on the market, get what they can, let the dealers do what they do. Those are certain cases. You also have another one, which is that you'll have a big manufacturer's franchise dealership, right? Like big Ford dealership will get a trade, and it could be let's say today's 2019, this year's 2019, well, almost 2019. It's New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. So you go to 2018, 2019, right? You get a dealer takes a trade on a 2013 Toyota Camry, but the 2013 Toyota Camry has some defect in it, like an airbag defect, right? Now, Toyota will gladly fix that for free for an owner of a car. But the Ford dealership just usually, they don't have time. They're not going to go send somebody to the Toyota dealership and do all that. And I'm not even sure if Toyota necessarily would do that for a dealership that owns a vehicle. I'm not quite sure how that always works. But a lot of times if there's a defect or several defects in a vehicle like that, that dealership has a lot of rules, stipulations, and things that they need to operate and abide by, because they're essentially operating under the flagship of whatever of Ford, right? Or in this case Ford, but the manufacturer. So they can't just be out there selling a bunch of cars with manufacturer's defects in them. That's not good for business, especially if something goes wrong. A lot of liability. So those cars they'll just send to the auction, and they'll factor that in when they take them in on trade, that they're probably just going to get a wholesale value for it, so they're just flipping it. All right, but that's another example. But in general, you want to ask yourself, and then that means actually ask the dealer that you're buying it from, hey, if you're able to find out, of course, this came from a dealership, that this came from a dealer auction, hey, well, why is it that another dealer couldn't sell this car? And if they don't want to answer that, or kind of hem and haw about that, because it's a genuine question, then they don't want to know and they don't care. But if you can find out, if you can find out in your vehicle history report, hey, how long was it at that other dealership? Maybe it's in another dealership, and you'll see on the vehicle history report, I'm not sure if it's actually in this one, registration renewed. So yeah, see, vehicle offered for sale, dealer inventory. Now this will usually only be at big dealerships. So if I had a vehicle, it wouldn't say dealer inventory, because I was just a small dealer. I didn't report to Carfax or anything. But if you see dealer vehicle offer for sale, and then you see 5 months later sold at auction, right? Like this isn't kind of like this, right? Sold at auction and then offered for sale again. Well, that's a clear hint that vehicle was sitting on somebody's lot for several months. Okay, and you have that right there in front of you, and just look at the dealer and say, hey, something wrong with this car, right? There's got to be. What's your opinion? Just kind of feel it out, right? Like I said, kind of figure out if they don't really want to talk about it. That could be a sign. But you want to look for that kind of thing, because you want to figure out, why was this car sitting here? So anyway, we kind of went on and on about that, but it's important. Okay, both of those premises are important. First, understanding that the dealers like to trick with the Carfax. So make sure if you get a Carfax report, it's run the day you're there. Okay, you go in, or even if you're just calling, say, hey, email me a copy of the report, and I would like you to pull it today. I want verification that it's a report that was run today. And if they don't want to do it, you know what you're dealing with. Okay, because if it's a dealership that runs a lot of reports, they probably have an account where they get unlimited reports. All right, an auto check especially, because those are a lot cheaper. So if a dealership has unlimited reports and they don't want to get you one, they want to get you an old one, they don't want to pull a new one, which takes just a couple of clicks, you got a problem there. And you just move on. Don't get emotionally tied to a vehicle. Okay, so much that you're willing to give in on things you want. I want a Carfax report that has today's date on it. Get a Carfax report that has today's date on it. If you can't, don't buy that car. It's as simple as that. So we're more of that. All right, again, just like I said, walk out. If you go into the dealership, and you, let's say you find something wrong, okay? We already discussed walking out if you don't get what you want, but let's just say you go into a dealership, the initial report that they give you, or maybe one that's on their website, doesn't say anything about it, about an auction, right? And then you say, hey, I would like one today, and then that one says something about an auction. Show that. Say, hey, why does this say an auction? And again, if you get this attitude, like, not a big deal, whatever, that's a sign that you probably should just leave. Okay? We're not here to beat the dealer. We're not here to, you don't get points because you found something wrong. Okay? I'm going to go to a dealership. You're probably thinking, okay, if I can find something wrong with the vehicle, if I can trick them or trap them in a trick or get them to say something and then find out it's not true, and that'll get me a discount. Sure, you can get a few $100s off of a car, but if you're finding out that the dealership is being deceptive, what else are you not finding out, right? What else could be wrong that isn't worth the little discount you got because you found, well, yeah, okay, they had an auction report on the Carfax. Well, they're probably lying about something else that's on the car too that you don't know about, that you weren't able to find, that's going to cost you way more than that discount ever would. So think about that. This is not a game back and forth where you find as much as you can, because they do this every single day. Dealers do this every single day. You do not. If they're hiding 5 things, you will not find 5 things. You will find 2, maybe 3. They'll get you on the other 2, if that's the way they operate, right? And not every dealer does. But if you find a dealer that's already deceived you, just leave. It's not worth it, okay? Again, Carfax buyback guarantee. Yes, it's possible to pay it. Are these reports worth it? Okay, this is a very important question. Is a Carfax report worth it? Is any vehicle history report worth it? Absolutely. They are great guides, but that is all they are. They are guides. Don't look at a vehicle history report. I don't care if it's Carfax or not. Okay, it was run today. It says one owner. It's got that little stamp on it. It's got 40,000 service records. I mean, there's everything that's ever been done to this car for some odd reason was reported on this Carfax. This is the best Carfax report you could ever pull. That doesn't mean that everything is good with the car. First of all, just in general, right? A button could not work on the inside. That's very important with the AC control. That's not going to show up on a Carfax, but that's kind of obvious, right? But let's just give you an example. Let's say you're pulling out of your house, right? You back into a tree, or you're driving and you hit a tree or something like that. You back into your garage, right? And you cause damage to the vehicle. You go and you pay out of pocket to fix that damage. No one will ever know that occurred. It will never be on a Carfax. It will never be on any vehicle history report because you paid for it out of pocket. So there's no insurance company involved that would report it. It was a single car accident. Technically, actually it is, and it's not technically. It's a single car accident, so there's no other person involved. There's no reason for a police report, right? Because you didn't hurt anybody. You damaged your own property, essentially. Nobody was hurt, so there's no police report. So it's got no reason to ever be reported. That happens a lot with vehicles, and that will never show up on the Carfax. And you need to know that, okay, when I get this clean Carfax, okay, well, it means there's probably nothing major with the vehicle. But you should still always get a pre-sale vehicle inspection or pre-sale car inspection. I think I suggest this to everyone who gets our vehicle history reports, okay, or who I help get vehicle history information, that you need to get that pre-sale inspection. And these are people, they're in your community, and you know what? If you have dealerships in your community, you have these people there because the dealerships use these people. They're privately contracted. The dealership doesn't want to keep all these people on staff because they'll have times when they're not inspecting that many vehicles and they'll have times when they are. So they kind of just privately contract it out. These are the people who inspect the cars that the dealerships themselves buy. Okay, and they're out there freelancing. They will work for you just like they will any other dealership. They'll go to the place, or it could be a private seller. They'll go check out the car and they will do everything. They will make sure that every button, They'll check all the windows. They'll make sure the vents on the AC go up and down and aren't broken. They will pick that car apart. It's usually around, depending on your area, depending on the type of inspection, because you can do some thorough, massive, detailed inspection that, you know, an insurance company would want that's like $300, $400. Or you could just do like a pre-sale inspection, which they still cover, like I said, almost everything. And those are usually around $100 to $150. Again, depending on where you are. If you're in a more rural area, it's going to be cheaper. If you're in an area like maybe South Florida here, it's going to be closer to $150, $200, just because there's so much business around. And if there's people that do this, right, there's so many cars to do, their time is spread thin, they're going to charge a premium. So always get those. That is the one way that, if you look at this in percentages and you look at, I want to know about the history of a vehicle, that is the one way you're going to know into the 90th percentile that a vehicle has not been in an accident. Okay. And with the Carfax report, I would put it maybe 50-50, to be honest with you. Okay. They're just not gold. They're like that. It could go either way, because you can get a history report that's clean and the car could have been totally screwed up. At least with a pre-sale vehicle inspection from an inspector, it's very rare for them to miss something. And if they do, it's probably going to be minor. Okay, they missed that a fender was repaired or a quarter panel was repaired because the paint job was so good and they got the levels right. They couldn't find it with a meter and they did this and that. I mean, you know, somebody would have had to really make a perfect repair. But even then, you're not going to have a car that was totaled and an inspector is going to miss that. Okay, let me give you a couple tips that I actually give a lot of people when it comes to this. If you want to do this on your own, maybe you're buying an older, cheaper car, you don't want to hire these inspectors. Let me give you one tip. Go under the hood. So you have to open the hood, and you want to look at the bolts that connect the quarter panels and the bumper to the frames. All right, and you can do this inside the door. You can do this in the trunk. Anywhere where the panels, so it's outside painted panels of the car, attached to the frame, the body of the car. Okay, you want to look at those bolts, because those bolts are painted by at the factory. They're painted with the colors, because all that stuff is on the car, right? When they paint it. So those bolts are painted with the vehicle. And if you see scratches and paint removed from bolts like that, and especially under the hood, you could go on the left side of the car and see that all the bolts there have paint scratch, and on the right side the bolts are perfectly painted. You know that those panels were removed or added on, or something was done. And of course, again, that doesn't mean, right, that those panels are necessarily from an accident. They were replaced. Shoot, it could be someone who just decided to change the color. I don't know. There could be a reason, right, that someone removed those panels maybe to get to something, to repair something mechanically, and then put them back on, and that's what caused the problem. So it doesn't always mean it was an accident, but that's a good way to know, okay, I know the panels were removed. That's not something that's done in a normal situation. Let me find out why. And even if it was a mechanical issue that was that serious, you'd want to know about that too. Also, something wouldn't show up in a Carfax. Another one is a paint meter. Okay, you can get these on Amazon. Yeah, just leave it at that. Amazon, right? Everyone knows Amazon. You can get these on Amazon. Usually, I don't know, 50 to 100 bucks. There's some of them that are super expensive. You don't need those. Usually around 100 bucks is quality. And what these are going to do is measure the level of the thickness on a paint. Okay? And the reason why that works is because when the car's painted at the factory, it's level. Every panel receives the same amount of primer and the same amount of paint, the same amount of clear coat. It's almost identical to the depth. Okay? However, if you take a car to a body shop and you repair it, that person is not going to sand it down evenly. That person, evenly to the measurement. Okay, it's going to be even enough to paint, but that person's not going to sand everything down to be absolutely level. There's going to be spots that get more or less primer. There's going to be spots that get more or less paint. There's going to be spots that get more or less clear coat, and it's not going to match. It might not even match itself just across the panel, much less all the other factory painted panels on the car. Okay. So just throwing out a number here, let's say I go to the quarter panel, let's say I go to the door panel and it's 3.5. I go to the back door panel, it's 3.5, and then I go to the front quarter panel and it's 4.7. Something was done to that panel. Okay, something is on there. Just pretty, it's pretty flawless to be honest with you. I've never encountered one where there wasn't work on it where I found it, but Of course, it could probably happen. I have to admit that. But that's two easy ways, very inexpensive, or at least less than a car inspector. But again, if you do those, you're only inspecting the paint, the body. Okay, if you get that car inspector, I mean, they're going to test all the buttons and everything. I mean, you don't want to get in the car and find out that there's something wrong with the sunroof, right? If you have a sunroof, God forbid. You want to find out that something doesn't work on the AC. You know, that's a very important. Okay, my car was in an accident, but my AC's jacked up and it's summertime. And I can't get the AC works, but the buttons don't work right and they keep malfunctioning and shorting out. You know, they worked fine for the test drive, but now I can't use my AC and now I've got an electrical problem on a car, and the whole module needs to replace, and that's $1,500. I mean, I'm just telling you, this is how this stuff can roll over and just get very, very expensive. Okay, so, and again, sorry guys for kind of going on here. I know this is just supposed to be about Carfax, but these are things I think is important, and if you listen through, it's worth it. If not, I completely understand. I tend to ramble. You got other free sources. Again, you know, National Insurance Crime Bureau. Now that's one I would actually use. Okay. That tends to find things that you don't, sorry, something outside there, that tends to find things that Carfax sometimes can't. Okay, the car's been stolen or reported as salvaged by an insurance company. You know, remember, Carfax only reports what has been reported to it. They don't have investigators that are out there searching every single VIN number and looking up physically the history of a vehicle. You know, it's not like the commercial, right? I don't know, you might have seen a commercial for Carfax where they have, you know, little certain animals like with the Carfax that go out and they're looking at cars. It doesn't work that way. It's only if someone makes a report. One service department of the dealership might report their service records to Carfax, and another dealership may say, we don't have time for that. You know, and you'll get one Carfax report on one car that has all these service records, and another one that doesn't have any. Is one car worth more or less than the other? Not at all. It just means that the service departments didn't report it. Okay, you have a 3-year-old car that was leased; they were all serviced. Trust me, they were all serviced. So again, just keep that all in mind. Okay, but these other sources, I would use this one, National Crime Insurance Bureau. But these other ones, okay, they're just trying to. They're great marketing. You could sign up and they'll probably get you the information, but why go there? Get something that's half-hearted for free. I mean, you're already, like I said, with a Carfax report that's $40, it's 50-50. So if you go and you get something for free, what's that? You know, 15%, you know, likelihood that it's accurate, you know? So what's the point? You're never going to be satisfied with it, so why even use it? Car Gurus has a good one. So if you find a listing, if you find a vehicle, see if you can find that vehicle on Car Gurus, because Car Gurus actually gives you, and I think it's not Carfax, it's AutoCheck, but they give you a couple of the biggest points on AutoCheck. So it'll say accident, it'll say how many owners or something, and then that's it. It won't give you details, service records, but it's a good kind of free way to get some information about a vehicle. But again, it has to be listed on Car Gurus by whoever's selling it. All right. Free Carfax reports on Reddit. That's just people who are saying, I can get you information, and they're not actually doing anything. Or it's old. I think I saw one on there was like from 2012, and nobody's been able to use the link since then, but it's still there and showing up on Google. Let me see which one is best. I still got to say Carfax. I'm not even gonna take an extra breath when I say that one. It's Carfax over AutoCheck. AutoCheck is getting there. That's run by Experian, if I'm not mistaken. So they're, you know, reliable company. They know how to handle data and keep track of everything. But again, both of these come down to they only can tell you what they've received as far as what people have sent them. So that's the extent of the information. But Carfax is dedicated to automobiles. AutoCheck, of course, you know, it's part of Experian. There's other priorities there, and they're newer, so they don't have as many partnerships and relationships to gather that information to make a full report, or at least as full of report as they can. And then there's Carfax discounts. Okay, so if you wanted to go to Carfax, I don't even know why I put this. I should have put this here. There are Carfax discounts. So if you go to Carfax and you get 3 reports, it's cheaper than if you just bought it by the one. Okay, there are bulk discounts and everything like that. So if you're a dealer, obviously there's bulk. But even if you're a private individual, you can get 2 or 3 or something, or 5, and you get a discount on it. And again, anything outside of that, just go ahead and guys, post a comment here, a question. We'll answer it directly. All right, might be about the history of your vehicle, or it might be about something in Carfax in general. Hey, does Carfax do this? Does Carfax do that? Does AutoCheck? Just go ahead and ask. Here to answer it. So that's it for this video, guys. Feel free to like, subscribe. Of course, you like this information. If you happen to be looking for a vehicle right now and you want to receive these updates, hit the subscribe button. So what happens is whenever I start answering car buying questions, whenever I'm making these videos, you're going to get pinged on it. All right. And of course, when you're done, shopping for a car and these videos aren't relevant, you can just unsubscribe. That's perfectly fine too. But when you subscribe and when you like, that helps us get some more juice on the channel, and that helps us reach more people and help more people. So that's always a positive too. So until the next video, guys, it was great talking to you, and you have a good one.